Boxing Voice.
To New York, we started in Macau, China, Shanghai, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and now we're here in the Big Apple. And it's a pleasure to be here because New York and this part of the country have always followed the sport of boxing, have always backed Manny Pacquiao, and now they have one of their own to cheer for in Chris Algieri. So it's really great to be here, and I want to thank you all for coming. This fight on November 22nd will be held in the beautiful Cotai Arena at the Venetian Macau. Now, the Venetian Macau is owned by Sands China. It is a company that has dedicated itself to bring great attractions to Macau, whether it's boxing, such as what we'll see on November 22nd, or great entertainment, or cultural events like the bringing over the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra. They've done such a wonderful job making Macau a destination for people all over Asia, all over the world to go to. And the reason that they've been so successful is largely because of the CEO of Sands China, the man who runs the Venetian Macau. He is a great fan of the sport of boxing. He has made this all possible, and he's done such a wonderful job in bringing to the attention of the world the events that take place in Macau. So please welcome the CEO of Sands China, Ed Tracy. Thank you, Ed. In our operations in China, which has now been extensive, in addition to the events we've done in Macau, last week we did our first professional boxing event in the mainland of China, in Shanghai, which was a huge success ratings-wise, and we did that with the support and the aid of Venetian Macau, and that worked wonders. You cannot believe how the sport of boxing is growing in China for all of its 1,400,000,000 people. I mean, it's one of the most amazing things. The first time we did an event in Macau, you could hear a pin drop. They didn't know that they could cheer or anything. You should have heard them Tuesday night in Shanghai. They were as loud as any crowd in Madison Square Garden for a Kodo fight. Boxing is really catching on in China, and we've been aided in that endeavor by our partners who are the sons of the great two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman, Foreman Boys Promotions, and George Foreman Jr. is right here. And we're, again, thrilled that this fight will be distributed on HBO pay-per-view. This is the 18th event that Manny Pacquiao has participated in that has been distributed by HBO pay-per-view. 18th event. And over the 17 events that have taken place, Manny has done over 13 million pay-per-view buys on HBO pay-per-view. That's truly a great accomplishment. And we're grateful for the cooperation, the help, the work of HBO Pay-Per-View. And we have with us today the director of HBO Pay-Per-View. Please welcome Tammy Ross. And we also want to acknowledge the help that we received from our sponsor, Tecate. Tecate has backed our programs for years, and they are really stepping up their support for the Pacquiao Algieri event. What they're doing is they're running a sweepstake. A lucky fan will get to travel on a VIP trip to Macau to watch the fight live. Additionally, winners of the sweepstakes will get transportation and rooms at the fabulous Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas so they can watch the fight and the whole event in a private ballroom in Las Vegas. In addition, Tecate is giving a $30 rebate to be eligible from the pay-per-view. To be eligible for the rebate, you have to buy an 18-pack or larger of Tecate or Tecate Light, and there'll be a coupon, and you can use that to reduce the cost of the pay-per-view for this fight by $30. There will be thousands of displays in supermarkets, and liquor stores, all over by Tecate, carrying the word for this card on November 22nd. We are very fortunate to have a sponsor like Tecate who supports boxing and particularly supports an event like Pacquiao Algieri the way Tecate is doing. So thank you very much for your help. I want to talk a little bit about the pay-per-view undercard before we get into what we've come to meet the fighters and to hear from their camps. It will be special. It will be special because it will be international. Boxing is becoming more and more an international sport. It doesn't belong to one country or one region. In the principal undercard match, Ed alluded to Zhao Shiming. He's been the poster boy for boxing in China, winning gold medals in the Beijing and London Olympics. He has been a professional for 5 fights, all of which under the tutelage of Freddie Roach. He's won. He now fights the WBO Eliminator against an undefeated Thai fighter, and that should be a sensational fight. It will be over 12 rounds. He's never gone 12 rounds, but Freddie is confident that he'll come through. In another international match on the program, the man generally conceded to be the greatest amateur boxer in the history of the sport, Vasyl Lomachenko from the Ukraine, whose record as an amateur was 400 wins and 1 defeat, who won gold medals in Beijing and London, and in his 3rd professional fight, won the featherweight championship of the world, beating Gary Russell. Vasyl Lomachenko will be defending his title against another Thai fighter with a record of 52 wins and 1 defeat, who hasn't lost a fight in 8 years. The last fight that he lost was a close decision to the legendary champion, former champion Chris John. That should be a tremendous fight. And finally, a little closer to home, Jesse Vargas, the WBA junior welterweight champion, who resides in Las Vegas, will defend his title against former lightweight champion from Mexico, Antonio DeMarco. That's a really powerful undercard, so it should be a great night of boxing. You have a party, watch the pay-per-view, and you're going to see a lot of action. Plus, you're going to see an event taking place all the way across the world from China. And it's very interesting how the event is put on in China, how different it can be from the United States, and how similar. That's all very interesting, because it's a standard now made by the Venetian in Macau. If a fight ends early, nothing to worry about. They put in 12 dancing girls in the ring, and you can see a lot of action and a lot of activity, and beautiful women from all over the world. So it's something special watching a telecast that comes from the Venetian Macau. This match between Chris Algieri, the junior welterweight champion of the WBO, and Manny Pacquiao, the welterweight champion, is something special. Let's face it, Chris Algieri hasn't been a household name in boxing. First question the writers asked me upstairs, is he deserving of this fight? And I say to them, he's deserving because he earned it. He came from obscurity. He won fights as an underdog on ESPN, and finally on HBO, coming in as a heavy underdog. He fought the man that nobody wants to fight, Ruslan Pravadnikov, the heavy-handed Russian from Siberia, who was the champion. Got knocked down twice in the first round, his eye closed, got up, found a way to fight this beast, and ended up outboxing him, winning the fight, winning the championship, and winning a ticket to Macau to fight the great Manny Pacquiao. I'd like to call to the microphone the man that helped Chris make it all come, Joe DeGuardia.
Thank you, Bob. It's certainly great to be back in New York. We started this journey 2 weeks ago, 27,000 miles ago, multiple cities, Macau, Shanghai, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Los Angeles. It's been a great trip. Beautiful women coming out in throngs every trip. Shanghai, Macau, Los Angeles, most beautiful women in the world in all those cities. Surrounding and swarming all over Chris. It's been something else. But we're here in the most beautiful city in the world, New York, and you saw we got the best girls also. I want to thank, and it's, you know, like I said, when I started this journey, I said on the dais in Macau, it was an honor and privilege to be on this dais. Some of the most legendary people in the sport, legendary places in the sport. Bob Arum, a man who was promoted every major fight, every major fighter in the sport, from Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, on down, you name him. Bob has promoted them. To being on the stage with a man like Ed Tracy, who at the Venetian Macau has the largest casino in the world, fantastic place, and I know everybody's mentioned it, but press, media, come out there. It's certainly a special package that's been presented, includes all food, the hotel. It's a sight and experience you don't want to miss. There's nothing like it. And also Ed has been responsible for building up boxing now in China, which is great for our sport. Also, being on the stage with Freddie Roach, a legendary trainer. Manny Pacquiao, legendary fighter, has so many titles, you can't even count them. And I'm also blessed and honored to be on the stage with Chris Algieri, who, like Manny Pacquiao, the both of them are great ambassadors for the sport. On one hand, you have a great fighter, Manny Pacquiao, a congressman. On the other hand, great fighter Chris Algieri, who has got a degree from Stony Brook, a master's degree, put his medical school studies on hold. These are real ambassadors for boxing and great for the sport and industry. And also, while I'm talking about who's on this dais, I want to introduce first some members of my team. And before I get to the actual Chris Algieri team, I want to introduce Artie Palulo from Banner Promotions.
Good morning, everybody. First, I'd like to thank Bob, and I'd like to thank Manny Pacquiao and Ed Tracy from the Sands. It's great stuff. It really is great stuff. And he's a tremendous host. There's the Sands people, the Venetian. They were terrific to us. And I've said this the whole trip. If it wasn't for Bob and this young fellow, Manny Pacquiao, would go down as one of the great fighters of his time, giving Chris the opportunity, you know, nobody'd be up here. So thanks again, and Freddie, good seeing you as always. When we made the fight with Ruslan and Chris Algieri, I did not know Chris Algieri. But I know Joe DeGuardia. We've been friends for years. We co-promote Demetrius Andrade. I know his pop, his father very well. It's been my pleasure to be friends with their family. So we go out and we make this fight. And I gotta tell you, Chris Algieri is living what we would call the American dream. You know, he's a kid that nobody knew. He fought on ESPN on February 14th. He wasn't supposed to win that fight against Emmanuel Taylor. Then, when the opportunity came up for him to fight Ruslan Provodnikov, you know, he is a huge underdog. And what Chris Algieri did, and I've been saying it the whole time, is that in boxing, you must win a fight you're not supposed to win. In order to become a star, a player, to be in the business at the elite level, you must win a fight you're not supposed to win. And I knew Provodnikov was in trouble in the first round, and I've been saying it the whole time. He was a smart kid. He gets hurt, he goes down, gets up, he's in the first round. A lot of things are going on. Things are happening quickly. You have to make fast decisions on what you're going to do. So what does he do when he's being barraged? He takes a knee. He gathers himself. He already lost the round 10-8. He takes a knee, gets himself collected, loses the round 10-7, and then goes on and wins the fight. And I knew then that this is a very talented, smart kid. And I've had a good pleasure to meet him and to meet his dad and become friends with them. It's going to be a great fight, ladies and gentlemen. You got the right guy up here because he does deserve to be here. And he has done things that you're supposed to do when you want to be a player. He won the fight he wasn't supposed to win. Thanks for having me, and I apologize. I forgot one other group is HBO. Thank Kenny Hirschman, Mark Taffet, all the guys at HBO for...
Approximately, Chris Algieri walked into a gym. He was a young man, actually a teenager, and walked into the gym of a world champion kickboxer. That world champion kickboxer sparred with Chris Algieri that first day. And unlike everybody else that he had sparred with, which lasted maybe a round or two out here in Long Island, it was very hard to find sparring for him. Chris Algieri lasted 6 rounds or 7 rounds of sparring straight through for as long as they wanted to go. Chris took a beating. He got kicked all over the place. Right? He was a young kid fighting a kickboxing world champion. But he stayed there, fought with him. And over the course of the next few days sparring, actually Tim Lane was shocked that Chris came back to the gym the next day. But when he came back, worked at it, and turned the tables, and started to do a job on Tim Lane. And Tim realized he had a real fighter, he had a real winner. Fast forward now, Tim Lane is the trainer of Chris Algieri's boxing career, along with Keith Trimble. Another man who's been there for all those years, because Keith was Tim's trainer back when. Throughout the course, and incidentally, I'm going to introduce Keith right now, Keith Trimble, because he's not going to get up and say a couple words, but this is Keith Trimble. He's a Long Island's own, and it's the New York trainer for Chris Algieri. So, those 15 years of working together with Tim Lane, and that is his trainer, but Tim Lane has also become a guru here on this press tour. You know, I had the pleasure of knowing Tim for the whole time I've been promoting Chris. And you get together, you know, guys that are part of your team, but there's nothing like spending 2 weeks together every second of the day. Literally, this is a 24-hour tour. There's very, very little rest. You got to hand it to the fighters. Chris Algieri's been training the whole time while he's going out there. I don't know how he's doing it, because frankly, we're literally in interviews, meetings, press conferences, nonstop. But during the course of this tour, something else emerged. And it's taken off like wildfire. And that is the guru, Tim Lane, who all of a sudden now has been speaking about these power bracelets that Tim uses and wears. And they know it very well. Believe it or not, it's been spreading throughout the teams, throughout people on this press tour, throughout the world. People have been looking for this stuff. They're all trying to get a hold of what it is, that magnetism that makes Chris Algieri a winner, which I'll speak more about later. But I want to introduce to you now the trainer of Chris Algieri. You know, he's actually got me believing in this power bracelet he gave me. I'm actually wearing it. Nobody believed I'd wear it in New York, and I'm wearing it in New York. We introduce now the trainer of Chris Algieri.
Hello, New York, and welcome to the Chris Algieri Show. It's been an amazing trip going around the world, and Mr. Bob Arum has shown us that he is a very gracious man. I got to eat lobster and crab on his G5 going to LA, so life has been wonderful. I'd like to thank Ed Tracy, Joe DeGuardia, Artie Palullo for putting this together. Freddie Roach and Team Pacquiao, they're just amazing. They're really good people. They treated us so nice, and thank you so much. I'm just so humbled and blessed to be here. And you know, Joe's been talking about me the whole trip and been speaking very well and been saying how much of a guru I am. I'm just trying to live right and help Chris along his way and you know, be a better person. But this never would have happened if Keith Trimble wouldn't have had my back a long time ago as my coach. I live in Las Vegas now, and Chris trains out here. He trains with Keith and Dr. Mike Camp and Tony Ritchie. If it wasn't for those guys holding this whole thing together, life would have been very hard for Chris and I, because Las Vegas is very difficult to live out there. And without Keith, you know, love you, brother. You helped us a lot, man. And also, you know, Chris has taught me a lot about life. We spent a lot of time teaching him about fighting. But Chris Algieri knows how to live. Outside the ring, you never know he's a fighter because he enjoys the finer things of life. You might see him at Starbucks with his leg crossed, sipping on a latte if he's not in the gym. But those of you who do know him know when he's in the gym, he trains hard, he puts his soul on the line, and come November 22nd, it's going to be quiet time. And all you're going to hear in the background, coming from New York, coming from all the houses that people know Algieri, is you're gonna hear Algieri, 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 Algieri. We coming, baby. November 22nd. We bringing that belt back to New York.
Joe DeGuardia, that any product mentioned or pushed for sale in this promotion, a piece of the revenue goes to Manny and myself. That's the way it works. Well, guys, it's now time for me to introduce the Pacquiao team. We've traveled all over the world, and this has been going for many years, so we're all great friends. We know everybody's comedy lines, everybody's jokes, but we still continue because there's a lot of camaraderie among us. I'd like to introduce Manny's advisor, Michael Gaunt, and it's really a pleasure to bring to the microphone a man who really needs no introduction, a Hall of Fame trainer who is continuing to train the best fighters in the sport, like Manny, Miguel Cotto, Zhao Shiming, on and on. Nobody does it like Freddie. He is the best. Please welcome Freddie Roach.
Thank you, Bob. It's been a great tour, a lot of miles, flying coast to coast. It's very tough, but it's been a lot of fun getting to meet Chris and his team. Very good guys, and I wish them the best of luck. And we start training camp in the Philippines next week. And we get a lot of work ahead of us. I can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Here you have two camps, two fighters going to fight each other on November 22nd, who'll prepare like hell and give it all in the ring. And yet, when they appear in public, there's not only no trash talking, there's only compliments for each other. And that's how sports should be. That, by and large, is how the NFL is. And that's why it's so successful. And that's why I'm so proud of both of these camps for the way they've behaved and truly feel, because it's a credit to the sport. This is a noble sport, boxing is. We don't need trash talking. We don't need cursing. We just need the participants to show the proper respect for each other, which they've done here. So now let me call to the microphone to introduce the junior welterweight champion, Chris Algieri, my friend Joe DeGuardia.
Well, a bunch of years ago, a young man came into my office and we signed an agreement for us to promote him. I signed him because I was very impressed with the man that he was outside the ring. I was impressed with the fact that he had a Bachelor's of Science degree from Stony Brook University in healthcare science, management. I was impressed with the fact that he had a master's degree in clinical nutrition. And I was actually impressed with his confidence and determination that he expressed to me when we had met. We found a venue in his hometown in Huntington, the Paramount. Beautiful little place, fun place, and went there and did a show. Chris was on the show, and the show sold out. I was impressed. I was impressed by the venue, I was impressed by the way he fought, I was impressed by the way he carried himself. I was also impressed with the fact that for the first time in being at a boxing match, the fans, there were more women than men. And you don't see that in boxing. And there was something about that, because Chris generated a new kind of fan. I believe that he's going to continue to generate a new kind of fan for the sport. I believe he's a perfect ambassador for the sport. All of those things were great. And then, every time after every fight, he'd keep telling me, I want you to get me better guys. I want you to get me the best competition. I want to fight the best. Well, we did that. And every time, he stepped up to the plate and won. Fast forward to this year. And this year, he fights Emmanuel Taylor, a man he was not supposed to beat. February 14th, Valentine's Day, a packed Paramount, okay? Yes, full of women also. And Chris Algieri beats Emmanuel Taylor via shutout. Every round. Emmanuel Taylor was being looked at. That fight was on ESPN nationally and internationally. That fight was being watched by HBO. Peter Nelson, other executives at HBO, the greatest network in boxing. And by the way, we're pleased that they're going to be a part of this promotion, the force behind the promotion, HBO pay-per-view. But after the Emmanuel Taylor fight, when they were looking at Emmanuel Taylor to be an opponent for Ruslan Provodnikov. Chris upset those plans. Chris beat Emmanuel Taylor and put himself in line for a fight against Ruslan Provodnikov. Ruslan Provodnikov, at the time, this year, was the most feared fighter in boxing. Brutalized fighters he fought, concussed the last two fighters that he had fought, and frankly, nobody wanted to fight him. Chris Algieri jumped at the opportunity. And on June 14th on HBO, Chris was knocked down twice in the first round. Got up, with his eye completely closed, fought the entire fight, and thoroughly outboxed and out-hustled and beat Ruslan Provodnikov. He did it because he's got technical skills, yes. He did it because he's smart, yes. He did it because he's got a great jab and he's fast hands, and he's in great shape, great endurance. But he also did it because he has the mental makeup of a winner. And whatever Chris has done, he's been a winner. In school, in boxing, in everything. That showed June 14th because he had the will to win. And now, on November 22nd, he's out again to show the world that he can do what people believe he cannot do. The way he did it to Emmanuel Taylor as a big underdog, the way he did it to Ruslan Provodnikov as an underdog, and now he's going to carry on his winning ways on November 22nd, show the determination, heart, and fire that he has, the things that make him a winner. WBO World Champion, Chris Algieri.
Morning, New York. Feels good to be home on this great tour. First of all, I just want to thank a couple people. First and foremost, Bob Arum and Top Rank for making this fight happen, putting together this incredible tour, and you know, it's been a wild ride, a very entertaining one, and a very fruitful ride, I believe. Also, Mr. Ed Tracy for the Venetian Macau. Macau is an awesome city, and the Venetian is an incredible place. I'd like to thank my promoter, Joe DeGuardia, for helping me, get to this position and to get this fight. To the whole Pacquiao squad, who has been a real pleasure touring with, and it's been great to watch an elite team work. Because make no mistake, these tours, we have fun, but this is a work trip, and our job is to go out there and be ambassadors of the sport and to promote the fight and promote the sport in general. And I believe that the Pacquiao team does it better than anybody in the world. So it was a real honor to watch them and to learn and to take notes in the process. Also, I'd like to thank my team who's here today. Tim Lane, who's been traveling with me, and Keith Trimble, for, as Tim said, if it was not around, we would not be here today. Dr. Mike Camp, my strength coach, and as well as Tony Ricci, who has been there all along. I'm going to keep this brief. I don't really have that much to say. Everyone has said such incredible things. Really, this is just going to be a great fight. You guys should definitely tune in, and not even just tuning in on November 22nd. You should tune in now. The build up to this fight is going to be incredible. I invite everyone to watch my camp and see the way that a champion approaches a fight of this magnitude, and it's going to be a fun and interesting ride. And I think I'm excited for you guys to see what goes into this and what goes into what a champion does, and just the lifestyle involved. Also, I'd like to one last thanks. I want to thank everybody here. You guys are packing in here like a sardine can, and it's very much appreciated. But it's been a wonderful tour. Although it's been a lot of fun. I'm happy to see it close, and I'm looking forward to begin training camp. I wish the Pacquiao team all the luck during training, and I will see you all, on fight week. Thank you.
Doing this for almost 50 years, and it's a long time, and I have never ever been involved with a fighter where an entire country is concerned about his welfare, about whether he wins or loses, about how he performs, how he conducts himself. The Filipino people, whether they live, the 90 million that live in the Philippines, or the millions others that live around the world, including this country, where many of them are citizens, are invested in Manny Pacquiao. They believe in Manny Pacquiao. They follow Manny Pacquiao. Every move that he makes is fodder for their feelings. He's discussed in every Philippine household. He's part of what makes that country and those people great. And that, to me, is a responsibility that will be hard for an ordinary person to carry. But Manny Pacquiao seems to be able to carry that burden and to have the rapport with his people, that whatever happens in the ring, whatever happens outside the ring, he will do his best to make them proud. Proud that they're Filipinos, proud that in Manny Pacquiao he is somebody that's admired all over the world. And he is. Everybody comments, is he distracted by the various things that he does? The politics. He's a two-time congressman representing the province, district of Sarangani. He has a great, promising career for even bigger things in the Philippines. He is known around the world as a great humanitarian. The things that he has done to help his people from his own resources without asking help from the government, without raising funds from other people, with his own resources, whether it's to buy outboard motors for a fishing fleet so that the fishermen can get out to where the fish are quicker and therefore make a better living. Manny is there, whether it's scholarships, whether it's hospital beds, Manny is there. Some people say that the social welfare system in the Philippines is named Manny Pacquiao. And to a large extent, that's true. So this has been wonderful, not only to see this happen, but to know that we who are associated in the sport of boxing have such a wonderful representative at the top of the game. Somebody that we in boxing can, without question, be proud of. And that's more than left hooks and right crosses and defensive styles or whatever. This is character. And to have somebody like Manny Pacquiao in this sport enhances the sport. So we're grateful to you, Manny, for being part of our lives, for being part of the sport of boxing, for conducting yourself so well within and out of the ring. Please welcome the Congressman from Serengeti, the welterweight champion of the world, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First, I would like to thank God for giving us a great day, best day for us. And of course, I would like to thank the people who helped me to be here in my position. First, HBO. Because of HBO, people recognize me and knows me here in America. Not only in America, but all over the world. And of course, the promoter, Bob Arum. Bob, thank you of everything that you helped me, that you, are taking care of me every time that I had a fight. And also, I would like to thank the press and media and the fans, always behind us, supporting. Because of you, we're here. So, all the achievements that I have in my boxing career, in my life, you are a part of it. That's why I cannot boast myself alone, because I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with you guys. And this coming fight on November 22nd in Macau, I hope you support this fight 100%. It's going to be a good fight, and I would like to thank the people behind this, why the fight happened in Macau, 8 and Venetian Hotel for their support. The fight it happened in Macau so that the Asian people can have a chance to watch live of my fight, especially to promote boxing in Macau, China. So thank you to all of you. This is going to be a good fight. Don't miss this fight. I know I respect the team Algieri. They're a good guy. One of the nice person that I met when I'm in boxing, and his team, and of course the team Pacquiao, especially Michael Cons. I will call him Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean. And of course, thank you. Thank you so much to all the Filipino people. Maraming salamat po sa lahat ng mga Pilipino all over the world na laging nagdadasal at sumusuporta sa akin. I'm sorry, I'm talking in Tagalog. But sa lahat ng mga Pilipino, marami pong salamat sa inyong lahat. Ako po'y taos-puso nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat sa walang sawang pagsuporta. And to all the fans all over the world, thank you so much to all your support and love of boxing. And because of you, we're here still fighting, keep on fighting. And the journey of Manny Pacquiao will continue. Thank you so much. And God bless.
We've talked about the media packages. It's a one-in-a-lifetime experience. Talk to your publications. We've made the airfares, the hotel, the package is unbelievable. Everybody has cooperated. We want as big an attendance from the U.S. media, particularly the New York media, as possible. Contact Lee Samuels or Fred Sternberg, and they'll give you further information about the special package and the travel agent that will be handling it. Thank you all for coming. This has been a wonderful tour. It's not over yet. This afternoon, we ring the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange. So catch it on the news tonight. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you on November 22nd.
The Boxing Voice.